money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the fucking money, shithead?
It's down there somewhere. Let me take another look.
Donnie, you're out of your element. Dude, I'm talking about unchecked aggression here, man. Welcome to another fabulous edition of the Good Talk podcast. We are here, and it's actually more of a BLIZZARDCAST tonight in Minot, North Dakota. I am Jonah Lanto, my great friend, Chris Rubb.
Evening, everybody. How we doing?
We're doing great. We really shouldn't even be doing this tonight. Out of the blue, Rubb hit me up, and he's like, "Man, should we record tonight?" And I'm rarely gonna say no to that opportunity.
We might come up with something special, or we might just shit out an hour of crap. Let's find out.
Yeah,
only one way to find out, really.
You never know when it's gonna roll.
No.
We would love to have a guest with us here for all of you again tonight, but it's a fucking blizzard out there. It's winter wonderland madness.
It is straight evil outside.
Yeah, if you listen to this podcast at any time, just fucking look at pictures right now from Minot, North Dakota if you can. Well, maybe we'll snap one and upload it. We'll just get like a quick snapshot and we'll share that on our Twitter. That's at the Good Talk 5. It'll also be on our Facebook. And just so anybody not in North Dakota listening to us, dude, Rubb drove like fucking 8 miles through the fucking blizzard madness in his big awesome truck.
No picture will ever do it justice.
No.
Just how shit it is when it gets this way. But
Yeah, we just want to give you a taste.
we persevere.
But we're here, and we're gonna slice it up with a Good Talk 5. Rubb and I, it's been a minute since it was just a good talk between the two of us.
It has. Episode 5, I think.
Yeah, no, episode 5 was with Mr. Owens.
Oh, that was six.
And then it was 6, and then we had Turd
7
Man.
with Turd Man.
So you don't know what's coming for me today. I'm gonna hit you with one: flowers or trees?
Trees.
Trees.
Not that I don't like flowers, but I do so much love trees.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine like without trees, you can't really appreciate the mountainside even quite as much. Not that flowers don't have their place.
It's laid so bare. If like when you go to the Black Hills after a forest fire, or when they had that really bad some kind of tree disease or something a few years ago, it was really ugly.
Yeah, it gets pretty barren, but that's also, does that really do any sort of justice to the massive, glorious, beautiful flower gardens and wonderlands? There's garden paradises throughout the world.
Nothing away from flowers. They're fantastic in their own right.
Like what if instead of, if it was flowers and trees weren't the way they are, what if the fucking
Like
flowers,
if flowers were that big?
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
And
I would go flowers.
So if you could trade trees, this is
about
not a third option
if
here.
this is about size,
yeah, I'm not saying this is a third option.
Right.
But in this scenario, we could say that like flowers would have grown tree-sized and trees would have stayed flower-sized.
well then fucking flowers.
Then
dude.
flowers all the way.
Oh, yeah.
Do you realize what would happen if it was like that though? Fucking
That indicates
dude.
enormous bees. Dude.
Yes.
That's what it says. It
Yo,
says big,
yes.
stupid bees.
It says massive fucking bees that they would get you.
They would get me.
They would get me for sure.
We
I have
would
a
all
big
be
ass
gotten.
head. In this situation, the tiny heads might actually win the secret war because you would have a smaller target.
Do bees go for the head?
I think they just go for wherever they can get you.
I feel like they'd just sting the piss out of you any way they could.
Man. So
especially if they're the size of like fighter jets.
I was gonna
at
say,
that point,
if-
they're
yeah,
gonna be
they're gonna be car
wingspans of
size.
30 feet.
if flowers got to the size of trees, you're definitely talking about vehicular sized fucking bees.
We're all
everywhere.
we're lucky as a species that insects like cannot physically possibly grow that big, because if they could, we are fucked.
What it's so weird. I wonder what prevented that. In what
It's
way?
the way they breathe.
Really?
Yeah, insects don't have lungs, right? Like they breathe through little holes in their legs and in their body. And let me see if I get this right. I gotta get it my words just right.
Sure. Take your time.
At their size, that's right. It's like their inner mass, or like the amount of oxygen that they require, can be taken in through like the holes, like given the size ratio of the holes to their entire body. But if they grow, like there's a certain point where they can no longer draw in enough oxygen through those little holes in order to support something so large. Like the demands on their systems become too difficult, and that has a lot more to do with how it breaks down beyond those holes on the outside. Like the capillary systems become too complicated, and it just doesn't work. Like they can't breathe.
They're totally limited.
But if they had
regard.
lungs, or if they had a different way of respirating, or like if the Earth was like it was in like the Precambrian, where there was a lot more oxygen in the air, and insects could grow huge. That's where we get like fossils of centipedes that are friggin'
Massive.
3-4 feet long, and huge dragonflies that are probably have a wingspan of 3-4 feet.
Do you think anywhere in any jungle out there that perhaps there's some of that we haven't found yet?
Your atmospheric oxygen is still almost the same no matter where you go.
Okay,
So-
and that's why insects that large don't exist
Right.
anymore, is because the atmospheric oxygen has
if
changed.
you had a higher ratio of oxygen in the atmosphere, insects could and would grow bigger.
Okay, so it's certainly to our benefit, obviously, that we got trees instead of fucking flowers on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And
That the oxygen ratio is what it is.
I love trees, and no offense to all the wonderful flower shops of the world, but if everybody planted a tree instead of bought a bouquet of flowers, I think the world would be a better place. And that's probably just the stupid hippie in me.
Trees
But
do a lot better and more efficient and a bigger job of cleaning the air, pulling carbon dioxide out and introducing oxygen in. Flowers do that as well, but trees are just they're huge
again,
organisms doing a lot of work.
the flowers are, of course, absolutely necessary, as we well know. And bees, because of the spread of pollen.
Yes.
So it's of course a
need-
it's of course a symbiosis.
We gotta have them all, man.
Gotta have 'em all.
Gotta have them all.
All right, buddy. What do you got? You got a soft pitch
I
here?
did. I kind of
got it?
had a breakthrough. I was staring at this all
rub
day.
it some homework.
I was staring at this all day, and I was upset with myself. I couldn't come up with shit, and then I came across some inspiration. So, better subject for you, Jonah: science or history?
Oh man. Of course, the two are intertwined in a way.
Sure.
Well, history, of course, I really have been trying to pursue the thoughts of historians lately, and how it's easy to kind of map out what happened, and you can, if you're really following along in the geopolitical landscape, you can see these trigger moments throughout history where the domino effect that led to a certain series of events happened.
Big time.
So I really like historians in that manner. But without science, I'm not getting to the bottom of the ocean. I'm not getting into space. I'm not flying.
Questions aren't really getting answered.
Right, they're not. Things are getting assessed really well with history. They
Sure
can
are.
be, and assessment is clearly very important.
And a science in itself.
But my satisfaction and curiosity with biotechnology, with the great robot wars, with the internet, with AI, I've got to go science here, man.
Science is damn fascinating.
It really is. I find myself, probably, even if I was to assess my own habits, I certainly gravitate toward more scientific documentaries.
Sure.
Or scientific, just anything. If I'm watching something that's not a popular TV show or whatever, in terms of my entertainment medium coming through the giant box we all hang on our screens and worship from our asses. No offense, but I do it. I'm plenty guilty, but
All hail.
heil to fucking TV, huh? So yeah, buddy, I'm going science. Without science, history didn't bring us fucking television, son.
It's another answer where you got to have them both.
Yeah.
But science is science promises a wider range of discovery. History is written and is what it is, but eventually you might just kind of know it all.
History can lie.
It can.
Science
and will.
Science can't really. Can science lie?
Your interpretation of science can
lead
mislead you, and particularly if you're relying on someone else to interpret it for you and taking that at face value.
Well, so many people mistrust science. There's a major mistrust to that because, of course, and we linked
Because
to
we
this.
make everything an argument.
It is. It's an argument. Well, and a lot of times as a scientist, if your research funding is coming from a certain sector, of
Right.
course people want to allege that your research is biased because your paycheck is coming from somewhere.
Well, and to say that any set of information on a given topic is, quote, complete, so that it says it all. It tells the entire story. Like I'll use climate change. Climate change is a big divisive issue. Is it happening? Yes, of course. We can all agree that climate is changing. That's fine.
No, we can't agree.
We can agree that it's changing.
The climate's changing.
The problem is, do we agree? Is it all man-made? Is it that we are responsible for this? Well, I can present to you a whole bunch of data and proclaim it to be like a complete set of data and then come up with a conclusion, but then there's always something else to be considered.
Of course.
So and then it turns into a political debate, an ideological debate, and then we have a lot of mistrust and a lot of confirmation bias and all kinds of stupid shit.
I really feel like it's frustrating sometimes, the lack of recognition from anyone about just regarding to the symbiont circle that we have with this planet.
Yeah. And
that's not hippie shit, guys.
No, it's not.
The amount of deforestation and ocean pollution, it's gonna catch up with us. There's simply no denying it. And to bury your head in the sand and think that we can do nothing and we shouldn't be growing into,
or that we haven't had an effect yet.
Yet.
That none of our activities have had an effect on the climate.
Well, coming back to science and
Debatable,
history,
but it's just about confirmed that of course we're having some effect. Is the fact that the climate is changing 100% due to the actions of man? Probably not. The climate's been changing, steadily fluctuating since the beginning of recorded history and long before then,
dude,
too.
sea levels are rising.
Well, yes,
faster than what the
but
public
they've-
opinion wants anyone to believe.
They've risen and fallen. Right,
But
There's
last
been
time,
ice ages.
time they rose like this, there wasn't a fucking Miami. Okay,
Right.
There wasn't a New York City.
Right.
That stands to be buried. I mean, what's going to happen when within 2 years, not now, but just when the moment occurs, 5 million people are suddenly displaced.
Yeah, it'd be a lot more than that.
Right? Yeah, that's way.
At the same time you're losing Miami, you're losing New York, New Orleans, Los Angeles, you're losing Seattle, you're losing.
Listen, if you're listening, don't come to North Dakota. I'm serious. You don't want to come up here. Just wait until we show you that fucking picture.
You won't want to.
I think history can be lied about. History can be manipulated. History has been lost.
Yes.
History has been written by victors. We know for sure through whatever history is written, and we can try to observe as truth that entire libraries have been burned throughout pillaging for thousands of years.
Yep.
And
since the beginning, man. That's just a tale as old as time.
It is so fun to wonder what we have lost in all of that.
Yeah, I love that.
Because I think some real shit was lost out there.
As hard as it is,
the
for
big
me,
one,
as frustrating as it is to come across that idea, that thought, that conclusion, that we have lost so much that we need to either regain or gain for the first time. It's still it makes you sit back in awe of what we've accomplished and lost. It's a complicated subject. There's a lot that we have known and forgot about.
One of the really scary library destructions, didn't it come when Carthage sacked Rome back then, way back centuries ago? Am I going too far back outside?
No, that's just outside my. I always go back to the burning of the Library of Alexandria.
There you go. That one,
the ultimate example of humankind losing an immeasurable amount of knowledge that we had gained painstakingly over potentially tens of thousands of years.
Well, to think about what it took to actually store and record a book at that point in time.
Scrolls.
Yeah.
In the Library of Alexandria.
We can sit here.
All of which burned.
People can type a couple hundred words a minute.
Yeah.
You know what in that minute of typing, that was how many hours of pen and quill just lost. I know how I felt,
papyrus scrolls.
dude. I know how crushed I felt. My 5-year-old. This is a long time ago. I had just gotten an Xbox 360. I was so excited about it. I had my kid Jace, my oldest son Jace was 4 at the time, 4 or 5, and the games I got with it: Elder Scrolls Skyrim. And for those who've never played it, Skyrim's totally amazing. Brings you into this completely, medieval world, and you're interacting with different societies and cultures throughout the game, and it was beautiful. At that time, I had never played anything like it, and I had 56 hours of questing and leveling up and dungeon exploring and killing all loaded into this game, and it was so fun. And I came home from work, and my 5-year-old had fucking deleted it. I wanted to put him through a wall. Like, even then, like, it was so hard for me to not launch him through a window. And what do? That's it. It was gone. Okay, and that is so minute.
No display of anger or frustration is going to bring that information
so
back.
Minute and infantile, and
Right.
I never played that game again because I could not bring myself.
Over at that point?
I know people replayed the game multiple times. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I'm not that way.
Maybe if you had chosen to replay on your own circumstances,
Like, my God.
but being forced to is
And
a
so,
whole other level.
yeah, when my mind echoes through time, and I can extrapolate that stupid moment of having my game erased and think about that in relevance to the Library of Alexandria, and I'm like, oh my fucking goodness, what have we done? What have we done?
We lost a lot that day.
So that brings me to good talk number 3. Are mean people necessary, or should everyone just be nice all the time?
I should be nice all the time, but yes, mean people are necessary. Yes.
Fuck, that's the most diplomatic,
just like,
wonderful way to answer that question,
it's
probably.
just like, as a society, we always need problems to solve. When we don't have problems, we don't, necessity is the mother of invention.
Of course.
Without problems, you're going to stagnate. You always have to have something that drives you forward, and that's not necessarily going to be a deep, dark issue within yourself or something like that, but it's always going to be something that you need to overcome, maybe as a society, maybe as a family, maybe just within yourself.
Yeah, I think in a very relevant way.
So yeah, mean people are necessary.
Mean people are more necessary than just everybody should just be fucking nice all the time. I don't know, man. You go to some places and people don't smile at you, and nobody's making eye contact, and everybody is just this weird worker bee mentality. Yeah. I don't give a fuck about you because I don't know you and you don't know me, so why should I? If that general meanness were to spread like an infection, boy, what the fuck would our world be?
Well, that gives you, the nice guy, the mission of spreading that niceness like that wildfire and being the balancing factor.
Well, I can't be fucking nice all the time, so I know that
I'm really good at that, so I'll just keep going. I'm going to keep doing me.
I certainly enjoy to share kindness and whatever, but can anybody just really be nice all the time? The only person who's ever been nice to me my whole life, one person my whole life has always been totally nice. I don't believe I've ever been mad at this person once. It's my grandma Helen. She's
a sweet lady.
Dude, she is just the most patient, wonderful, loving, understanding. The amount of bullshit that she put up with through multiple generations.
No doubt.
It's amazing. And she never really, I know I have friends who definitely shared moments at Grandma Helen's house throughout our formative years who certainly credit her kindness with our bullshit it certainly links to where they are now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so mean people are definitely necessary, folks. We got to find ways to overcome them, but they're like with anything, it's a balance.
I like
and
balance.
When it crosses the line of cruelty, that's a different realm.
Yeah.
Cruel is a realm beyond mean.
Cruel is sadistic. That's beyond mean.
Mean is like when
Standoffish
mean is when your kid doesn't eat supper and then you don't give him a snack. at later. They're like, well, can I have a popsicle? Well, no, you didn't finish your supper. That's kind of mean, isn't it? Or is that
I think
too
that's
soft?
Pretty fair.
Oh, so that's in the realm of fair.
I'm not a parent, though.
No,
I have
no.
no business commenting.
It's
on that.
no, actually, sometimes an outside perspective can be welcome.
I don't think that's mean.
I'm not one of these freak parents that don't tell me how to raise my kid. Huh, like new ideas are good.
Right. I don't think that's mean. I think that's being pretty fair.
I'm so
you're
dig in.
okay. Like I love a quote, and again, I'm not a parent, but I love a certain quote that I heard, and it stuck with me. Is that you're not raising children, you're raising the adults that they will grow into.
Is that like Louis C.K.?
I don't know.
It
could be that.
Yeah,
probably Louis is a very, very introspective parent,
Yeah.
and but that's a great quote. You're not raising
Awesome
children.
quote.
You're raising the adults that they're going to grow into, and by teaching them lessons like, finishing your dinner before you move on to sugary snacks or whatever, what have you. That's that's a metaphor for everything they're gonna face later on in life.
Yeah, it's because I'm just trying to make my kids fat. Eat your whole fucking plate, and then I'm gonna reward you with a giant fucking fudge sickle.
Gosh,
Get over here. No, I'm kidding.
oh, you just forced. Oh, you wrecked me there.
I know. No, that's the way it goes sometimes.
I guess maybe
here,
I'll just go.
Here at the Good Talk. That's that's kind of how it can roll.
Well, you always got to be on guard for getting knocked the fuck out.
Yeah. So once again, balance is key in all things. So
I
find it.
I'm in love with the idea of balance. I root it out when I see anything that's out of balance, and that's even like sometimes it goes against my own character, but I'm driven towards balance, just like the way I observe nature. Nature loves to bring things into equilibrium, loves to take something that's hot and something that's cold and make them both the same temperature. That's entropy. That's what nature does its best, and that's what I've just attached to in my own way of being. Is when I see anything that's out of balance, I tend to gravitate towards bringing balance to it, good or bad, really. Like.
And bringing balance and having balance, of course, doesn't mean like you're walking a tightrope.
No, not at all.
Because sometimes it seems that way when sometimes there will be moments when it's like that, right? Where having balance means you're walking a tightrope and you need the balance beam to get through it, but it's not always that way.
True balance means balancing whether or not you're going to affect balance. So it doesn't ever have to force you into a situation where you have to pick up that balance beam and walk a tightrope. You can just choose that I will balance it out by affecting something later.
So you believe in karma then? Because I really
want to.
I
I desperately want to believe in karma. I do.
I think that your choices, good or bad, are sending out a conscious energy reverberation through the world. I swear I've felt it at times. I have very much felt it. I like to call it like a vibrational wavelength, and there are moments in my life when it's been very
echo
palpable.
chamber.
Yeah, and you can spread your wings and fly on that energy, folks. And I felt it out there. And so there is a reality to what is sort of being put out there into the realm of your reality,
right,
and how that extends beyond your own consciousness. And your choices, good or bad, are going to affect all of that. Now, the echo they create could go much deeper.
Right. Now that's where I have to diverge from a classical definition of karma versus what I would refer to as like a universal echo chamber. That universal echo chamber, it certainly has themes of karma. And that's where, again, I desperately want to believe in karma. But that universal echo chamber idea goes so much deeper in that it doesn't play tit-for-tat games where I do so much good and I do so much good and I will get so much good back, or I do so much bad and I will get so much bad back. Karma seems to be this eye for eye, one for one exchange of good for good, bad for bad. When the universal echo chamber, it's ineffable to try to describe what I'm even tilting my own head at to this day in really understanding the mechanism behind it or its own function or just how it affects me or anybody. But it's far more complicated than that. Far, far more complicated than that.
So as opposed to these direct results of
Right.
I made a good choice, now a good thing happens to me.
Yeah.
Is the echo chamber more of a stored? Is it sort of a karma storage?
It would appear to be stored because we live in linear time. But the universe does not have.
Do you think the
linear
entire
time.
universe contributes to the echo chamber, or do we
Yes.
all have our own?
It seems that it's rather universal.
And in that universal reality of this echo chamber,
But then again, that goes into how we
But what
define our own reality.
what? Yeah, no, it does. But what I'm putting in there, I've oftentimes liked to think about good moments that happened to me were like a result of this karma shield that I had, because I had been contributing more positivity and more helpfulness and good things, and it's not to say
That's
that
what I want to believe.
and
That's what I want to believe. That's
but
what I want
listen,
there to be.
you don't get to do that if, like, on the other hand, you're some evil fucker. Okay, it's not like you're this evil piece of shit every
Right.
day in your life,
because
and
you
then
helped an old
and
lady
then you help
cross the street.
right. Or you bought lunch for the homeless guy or whatever.
That's
It
not
doesn't
balance,
fucking work
is it?
that way.
That's not balance, is it?
No, that's not fucking balance at all.
Nature
motherfucker.
does one thing that I've,
It's an everyday way in which you live your life. It's when you go to the fucking gas station and you go in to pay for your gas and get a coffee or whatever you need. It's looking that guy across from you or girl and saying, "How are you doing today?" And it's smiling and saying, as you walk out, "Thank you, have a nice day."
That's a better approximation of what I'm trying to get at.
That is the generality of putting good out there and building up a karma shield. It doesn't mean you're fake nice to everybody, because that doesn't work either. You got to be pleasant within yourself and comfortable within yourself
There's a
to generate
sincerity
that
aspect there.
a sincerity.
Yeah.
There has to be a
There
sincerity
has
to it.
be.
And
if you don't, and if you're not,
you can't force sincerity, but can you practice it? Can you practice it and, like, get there?
well, yeah, I suppose so.
Because maybe sometimes it's just hard for some people. Maybe.
Because if you sincerely want to be, say, positive, do positive things, and in turn hopefully get positive things back, well, then that's sincerity already. So
Right.
then, whether or not you're going to interact with someone on a positive level, you'll get there eventually. You've already started the path to sincerity just by sincerely wanting to take part in that good feeling exchange.
So
That's already sincerity. It's just going to grow. Then yes, absolutely, you can partake a little bit at a time and grow your ability of being sincere. Yeah, and
absolutely.
hopefully by seeing good things come back at you and noticing them, because now you're paying attention. Now you're looking for that positive, and you'll grab a hold of it when you see it. Now you're beginning to process things inside your own head that are actually changing you.
Of course, we're not automatons.
No.
So emotion has to play into our day. Emotion is a strong thing for some to manage. And so maybe, sincerity can be a challenge, but I encourage everyone, just try to be friendly. Like, it doesn't hurt.
Don't be a dick.
It could you just never know when, like, that one moment, that one time when somebody's having, like, a super shitty day and everybody has been a turd. And
that's the ultimate one to look for.
Yeah, and these are people that we all cross shoulders with in our everyday lives, and it's not to say every day sucks in our lives out there in the mundanity of the blue collar world, but hey, the fact is they're probably dealing with a little bit more shit than others, and the occasional nice, the smile, the friendliness, the courteousness, it's all a cycle.
That might jumpstart them into having a better day.
You could save their day.
It didn't take any effort whatsoever for you to do that.
It took you maybe 5 words, and I like that.
Yeah,
you could affect people that way, and that's
the one where I can.
And that's where I hope to, like, if in a day I could have made somebody smile or laugh, fuck, my day was made. I've made the joke because it's just fucking funny that my day can only be as good as the day of the person whose day I ruined. And sometimes that is so.
Let me do the math on that for a second.
Right?
Man. Can you say it again?
I know it's hard. My day can only be as good as the day of the person whose day I ruined.
Oh, so you're just gonna take their happiness? And
Fuck yeah! If I can roll up on somebody and just fucking
just
knife their good
jack
day
their
away,
happiness right
and
away
like
from
I'm
them.
boom, I will springboard off that like a rocket ship into
Right.
a realm of awesomeness for a while. But then I will fall down from the come down of that. I will hit the come down of that moment and feel awful.
One word: balance.
Right? And that, my folks, is why mean people are in fact necessary. I enjoy a little dose of meanness once in a while, but being nicer.
Third
is,
question in
is
a row.
better.
You got to have both.
Yeah, you gotta have them both.
Got to have them both.
But I think a little bit of meanness is more necessary, or maybe not.
Well, you gotta have them both.
You gotta have them both.
Balance,
Not fair.
buddy.
Balance. This is either or, though.
Balance.
We're slicing it. Oh, is this the balance show tonight?
I'm gonna be.
It's-
I'm gonna advocate for balance all evening.
All even. We're not,
Yeah.
It's not the Good Talk 5. We're not splitting the Red Sea of your soul tonight, folks.
Good
We're just
talk.
walking the fucking.
You say good
the
talk
Good Talk
5.
tightrope.
I'll say good talk 2.5.
That's fucking fantastic. Well, let's launch it. Let's launch into just a more nerdy one. I've got this nerd one that I've had
I
for
do
a
so
while.
love nerdy questions.
Do you like nerd ones?
Of course
Or
I
do you got another deep down, we're on
Got a
because
few
this will be
aces in the
question
hole over
4.
here, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna save the ace for question 5 then.
Fair
I you with 5. So this is one I want to take every nerd out there, and I want you guys to really think about this. And here it goes: X-Men or Avengers? Not who would win, or it can be who would win. But I mean, they've done it in the comics, and you can't get nerdy about it. But like preferentially,
more compelling storylines and
What's-
better characters.
better
to
characters,
me,
more compelling.
X-Men.
What do you like more,
X-Men.
and why? I fucking love the X-Men.
I grew up on X-Men.
I'm a
I really
homer.
did not read any of the Avengers and didn't know. I still have never read like even so much as an Iron Man comic. I used to read Uncanny X-Men, a few of the others. Like I had there was a Wolverine.
Did you watch the X-Men cartoon in the 90s? Because I know that was
Yes.
fucking
It
huge
was
for some
great.
people.
It was great.
Like, it was
I loved that.
massive.
It's
It's such good.
Fox Sunday morning or Saturday morning cartoon. It was great.
Yeah, that's kind of recognized as one of the better cartoons of the 90s.
It was
yeah,
really good.
I've got to go X-Men. I certainly like their characters more. I am such a homer in this one. I do believe they would kick the Avengers' ass, although Marvel didn't write it that way in the comics, and I'm very disappointed in that. I think there's sort of a conspiracy link to that, and it's that Marvel doesn't own the film rights to the X-Men universe.
Yeah,
Fox
Sony
does.
Yeah,
Fox does.
Okay. Yeah,
Therefore,
Fox does. That's right.
Therefore, there
Sony's
is
got Spider-Man.
dude. There is a pretty big movement of comic book nerds, and we all know how loud they are, and I fucking love you guys. It's
Absolutely.
fine. But the reality is there's a very strong belief that Marvel sort of intentionally has over the years more and more downplayed X-Men in comics, in branding, in toys, and in
Look at
all
the
realms of
push
manufacturing.
look at the push they give Avengers.
Well, they
My
have to. That's their
God.
film franchise now.
Well, and I mean,
And so
but look how good the movies have been.
Oh, they're
too.
great.
God,
They're definitely great.
amazing.
they're definitely fantastic. They have characters everybody loves. I fucking definitely I love Iron Man. For
Robert
sure.
Downey Jr. is
Robert
the
Robert
man.
Downey probably helped make
He is the
Avengers a little bit.
man. I fucking love Robert Downey Jr. There's no better Tony Stark. Nobody in the world, dude. Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark.
The only
Period.
real problem, of course, I think every time you fight the Avengers is you got I think Thor and Hulk are the wild cards. I feel like everybody else on the original team, somebody on the X-Men would have a pretty good balance and counterbalance for that, especially if you have like Jean Grey in Phoenix form.
Oh yeah, you're talking about fighting him.
Fighting him,
That's
for
what I
sure.
was gonna ask.
Yeah, like, who's
are
fighting?
you gonna fight?
Who are you
going
going
to
to fight? Who's going to get the Hulk? You got to get in his head.
There's nobody.
How-
Jean Grey?
How
I mean,
how strong are the Hulk's psionic defenses against like a fully leveled up
as
Jean Grey?
far as
you
I
know?
know, none.
Colossus can't really stand up to him. Maybe you could freeze him if Iceman's at like full fucking power level.
Iceman is a very powerful mutant.
Dude, I mean, if you can get Hulk into 20 feet of ice. I don't think he can get it. Can he get out of that?
He's pretty strong.
He's
but-
pretty strong, isn't he? Yeah. So that's the wild card, and Thor is a god. So
Yeah.
when you are sort of looking at some of the power levels there, Cyclops, Wolverine,
you have to, if you're going
Storm,
to go up against
Jean Grey,
if you have to
Rogue. Rogue in the comics was much more powerful than in the movies. I want to say for anybody.
Way more.
Yeah. Rogue.
Rogue was like, if you want to look at it like on a mutant level, she was up there with the Phoenix, with Jean Grey, with Professor X.
Well, because she could steal anybody's powers.
She and just in terms of raw mutant punching power, in terms of their ability,
Superhuman.
she
could fly.
She was way up there with the Phoenix, with Jean Grey, with Professor X, Magneto, way up there.
Yeah, I would say if you take a version of the X-Men where maybe Magneto was a part of the team, that's even better for their benefit. But more compelling villains from the X-Men too. I think the villains don't always get talked about as much, but the overall like villainy of Marvel villains, a lot of the great ones I think came from the X-Men universe.
Agreed.
So, well, thanks for geeking out with me a little bit on that, man. I could geek out about how X-Men would fight other X-Men, anytime.
I grew up
Or
on the
other
X-Men.
heroes, yeah.
When I was into comic books and around that 5th grade area, that was X-Men was my favorite and still remains. So got a soft spot in my heart for the X-Men.
That time in the late 90s and through the late 80s and into the early 90s was a really beautiful renaissance for comics. With when the X-Men had launched there, and Image was really big then, and
Image was really good.
Batman was
Savage Dragon.
Oh, I loved the Savage Dragon.
Wildcats.
Yeah, Wildcats had a single season
Spawn.
cartoon too. I didn't get into Spawn as much, but I know he's huge.
Yeah.
People love Spawn, so I've always kind of enjoyed. I like Wolverine and Gambit have always sort of been.
Gambit was my homie.
Gambit's a little underrated.
Yeah, I liked Gambit.
Now, when you think of if the X-Men were fighting the Avengers, would Xavier play a part in that? Because that might be unfair at that point.
He's kind of always calling the shots, isn't he? Like
he's not always fighting though.
he's not always fighting, but he's sort of like
Sometimes he gets drug into
their
the fight.
general.
Yeah,
Calling the shots.
I think it would make it tough.
He's their Captain America to me.
It's fun. It's fun when you toy with that. There have been so many different versions of the X-Men as well as of the Avengers. Even
a lot of them.
Wolverine and Spider-Man were both Avengers at the same time at one point in the comic books.
Really? I
Yeah,
didn't know
yeah. They were both part of an Avengers team for a pretty good stretch of time. I want to say Wolverine wore the maroon and gold maroon and gold costume when he was part of the Avengers. If there's a nerd out there listening to this that wants to correct me on that, or even let us know what you think at the Good Talk 5 on Twitter or on our Facebook. Geek out with us. What do you like? X-Men, Avengers? Who's your favorite superhero? Who do you think would win in a fight between Hulk and Rogue from the comics? Obviously, Hulk has the advantage.
I want to hear your tactics for taking on the Hulk.
That's what I want. What's the Hulk strategy?
We're going to turn to you. The Hulk has gone on a fucking rampage. How do you bring it down?
I guess Iron Man did a pretty good job of it with his Hulkbuster.
It was pretty good, but it didn't hold him for long.
No, nothing lasts forever. And he disappeared in the end anyway.
And that
so.
scene was still amazing.
It
was
was
really
fantastic.
cool when he
It was
called
fantastic.
it in from the satellite and it slammed down on him. That was rad.
Oh yeah.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Well,
go to sleep.
And it was so fucking cool too when a portion of his Hulkbuster suit was destroyed and a replacement spare part deploys and attaches itself to him.
I can't remember
awesome.
what he called the Victoria. Was that the?
I'm
calling in Victoria.
Yeah, he's got something fucking special loaded up. All right,
They do such a good job with Iron Man.
What do you got for a fifth question here, man? Where are we going with the final question on our night of balance? Because obviously both the X-Men and Avengers are super fucking cool.
Yes.
And it'd be like one of those two great football teams play each other every Sunday. Like, sometimes the Avengers are going to win and sometimes the X-Men are going to fucking take that one.
No matter who loses, we all win.
What are the wild cards on that given day?
Oh, let's see here. I did write some good ones today, I will say.
Yeah, dude.
I want a
You're gonna be able to pocket a few of those.
I want a good existential one today, right now. What do we got?
I mean, we're here from the Blizzard. I mean, we could close on on just something stupid like,
No, I'm going big.
go
I'm
big
going existential on you.
or go to the couch.
Go big or go to the couch.
I mean, I'd rather go there. I mean, that's it. Like, go big or go home. It's not specific enough for me. Go big or go sit on the toilet. You know.
You can go big there too. Would you, Jonah, rather possess the the quality of omnipotence or omniscience? Would you rather be all powerful or all knowing?
And this is just all knowing, so you just know shit, right? Like it doesn't mean you can affect anything.
Nope. You just have all the answers.
You just have all the answers, and you could certainly use that to great advantage to help everybody. And
it's good to know things.
But you've certainly seen over time a lot of people who knew things. It got them to some ugly places.
Sure,
Sometimes it can get you to a bad spot. But I don't know. I'm not
and once
power
you know everything,
obsessed.
What gives you the drive to know more?
My nature does not drive me toward a lust or desire for power.
Maybe this was a bad question for you then. Yeah, you're not really interested in either.
No. I'm certainly interested.
And now that you put it that way, I don't know that I am either.
In both, but what are you gonna do if you know everything? Where do you bring that knowledge? Can you fit it all in there? Do you know it all at once?
I would not want omniscience.
Because if you know everything, do you find it out as it happens?
I would suppose it would just as you need it, the answers just
come to you.
It's just
in a way like so. That's
it's
what
just infinite intuition.
An infinite intuition. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Like so, anytime a problem presents itself,
Bang,
you are
answer. You
just
got
fucking
it.
innovative. You can figure it out. You can overcome it.
Yeah.
You can do better.
But you don't have to work for it. It's just an instant.
It's just there. Yeah.
Bah.
It just clicks. It just everything just clicks for you. It's like if you threw down 1,000-piece puzzle in front of me, I could piece by piece just pick them up out of that fucking box and put them together.
Put them exactly where they belong.
Just quickly. It would take me
as
like
you pick them
world
up and
record time. As I
you
pick them up and set them down, I could set them where they would go.
Down exactly where
that's
they
amazing.
would go. Yeah.
In that then that's why I gotta dive into these questions because
that's good that you're dissecting them.
There's no way you can just for me simply be like I want power or I want this because what does power give me? Am I the button presser of everything? Am I a person of influence? Do I control people?
Of omnipotence, it would be like thy will be done. So whatever you're saying,
I could compel people.
It's like you're wishing at a genie. I want this to happen. Bang, it's happening.
Yeah, but you can't use that to like fabricate your own reality with this, can you?
You would have to truly be omnipotent. That would have to be how it would boil down. At least as far as it would pertain to anything you could call a reality at that point. It would have to be like things would instantly change into the conditions that would be necessary for what you're requesting to be happening.
I can be like, I want a fucking sweet ass tray of pulled pork nachos.
I want
and boom, they're there.
I want the sun to rise in the east.
I'm manipulating reality, and it's happening for me. If I'm all powerful,
kind of the only way.
Holy
omnipotence
fuck!
Would work. Yeah.
That's way too much power.
Yeah.
That's way too much. Nobody should have that much power.
And omnipotence would extend universally. So, I mean, you could say...
You could be a cosmic puppeteer.
I want the Earth to spin backwards around the sun.
Oh, you'd fuck it all up for everybody.
Instantly, it's spinning backwards around the sun.
Am I given training for this job?
No, you figure out as you go.
It's so fucking awesome that you asked me this question because when you really go into omnipotence, it's this little weird side theory
you have to
that
translate it
I've
into
had
how it would actually have to work
in the realm of a omnipotent anything.
Right.
That you would then have to presuppose this omnipotence is responsible for everything that we know as every universe and every galaxy that we've been able to discover through our own feeble means here on Earth. that omnipotence to me is responsible for the entire expanse of laying out planets and designing life and putting black holes in certain places. And it's
every description of pretty much every god that's ever been has been an omnipotent creature,
right,
as well as omniscient.
but no displays of God leave the in at least in my familiarity with God, much of their displays don't leave this earth, right? The level of omnipotence is not a galactic influence. And a lot of people is not like...
What kind of God are you thinking about?
Just a God that fucking affects the earth.
Every God that I've ever heard of created
the whole fucking universe?
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe. See, that's how little I know, I guess. You know? But, well, you don't get as many references amongst these followers. Okay, they created everything. Okay, so what I'm suggesting is a lot of things I've asked devout people before. Well, does that mean if somewhere out there in the expanse of 10 billion plus planets that your God that is responsible for how we are here on the earth is also responsible for the atmosphere of every fucking planet across the galaxy?
Oh yeah.
See, I that is so
every description of every God I've ever heard about, then absolutely yes.
Okay. Now, then you are not a God, you're a cosmic puppeteer.
Yeah.
And
if you're omnipotent.
Yes. And the learning curve.
Omnipotent is I think it's Latin. Omni is all, potent is powerful. So it is truly, to break it down, all powerful.
Yeah, all over everything.
Yeah.
Well, and that's sort of what I'm driving toward here is, if you are this being, okay, you are that being and you are conscious of yourself still.
Sure.
The way we look at a learning curve in our stupid human terms, where we learn from, aged X to X.
Yeah.
Where we look at our
mistakes made between.
So the learning curve of this omnipotent being is stretching billions of eons.
Potentially, depends on what you want.
Well, that's what you're getting.
Do you want the plate of nachos, or do you want the world to spin backwards? These are two things that an omnipotent creature is entirely capable of doing.
It's on a galactic scale, and
does it have to be?
Imagine having that power and just starting to fall into learning how to build galaxies.
Right.
Because
but you're also expecting that you would start with a clean slate, and there's
not necessarily. I could wake up tomorrow and have omnipotence, but it doesn't mean I know how to use it really well.
Yeah, no. Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I mean. So as I dive into becoming my own cosmic puppeteer with this power of omnipotence, how many times am I going to fuck it up before I build humans?
But you're all powerful, so you can always go back on your work and start over.
Oh, I'm just going to erase everything every time? Well, what if I don't want to? That takes time.
That's up to you.
That's what I mean.
You're the omnipotent being.
That's what I mean.
Well, I'm saying if you fuck it all up and the Earth turns
it's
into
easy.
a fireball,
it's easier just to move on to the next
you can
one.
Just be like, I wish I didn't do any of those things,
and it's gone.
Back. No, it goes back.
It goes
to
back.
What it was.
No, because somewhere in there where you fucked it up, there's things you care about. It's like that painting.
Try again.
It's like that painting you made when you're first starting out as an artist, and you look at the progression of your art, and you're the first one you ever did.
Yeah.
And somebody liked it. Yeah. It was good.
I like this.
But
part.
you could look back on it and be like, "Fuck, I hate that one now."
Yeah, I like this part and this part and this part, but the whole painting sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got for me in my version of, I guess, omnipotence, I'm leaving that shit there, and I'm gonna build up to this being a cosmic puppeteer.
Sure.
And that's what I'm gonna do. But the learning curve, I feel like
that's pretty steep.
It's pretty steep.
Yeah.
And it's on a billion-year scale.
Potentially.
Before you start getting it right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you're going to start, because you don't have omniscience. So that's where the two would commingle really well. Having omniscience and an infinite intuition, along with that omnipotence and the power to affect change on any level at any given time, go hand in hand very well. Having both is very good.
But
having one or the other becomes a bit more complicated.
It certainly does. Is my being all powerful directly linked to my mortal coil, or do I then transcend my own self and become an immortal, all powerful being, or am I only all powerful for my lifespan?
All powerful would mean that if you wish for yourself to become eternal, then it will be so. But you are all powerful.
Right, but what if I didn't understand that and I died before I realized I could do that?
That's your fucking problem.
Right? Well, if you suddenly became all powerful, like, you know, there's going to be a while before you truly understand and realize like, holy, yes.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to wake up and be able to just master this.
There's not a handbook for the recently omnipotent.
It didn't come with an instruction manual for the recently omnipotent. Oh fuck! Yeah,
like it's that's where like the genie effect. The genie is your liaison. When you have a genie, the classic Aladdin's lamp genie, you are now, at least for 3 wishes, completely omnipotent.
God, it's amazing.
But you have this liaison, right? This genie that's going to be able to at least kind of concierge you between you and the level of omniscience, of omnipotence. But in this scenario, you don't have that liaison. There's no magic lamp. There's no genie. There's just you and your newfound capabilities of omnipotence.
Man, I think we'd fuck things up if you just gave that to some stupid human like me.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ, this place would be so fucked so fast. Like, I mean, it would all work out in the end, folks.
Well, right, because we'd have infinite tries at it.
Yeah. I'd
it's
replace
gonna get
you.
Real weird.
It's gonna get. I'd replace you in the next dimension if I accidentally turned you into a fucking slithering worm creature with 6 head and dragon wings.
I probably deserved it. I must have been talking shit.
Yeah. I mean, like, I might make you, but I would let you fucking eat a bunch of bad people before I sent you off. I'd be like, all right, Rob, you are now a slithering worm creature that can lick things and fly and eat them with sharp teeth, and you digest them.
As long as it affected balance, I'm all for it, buddy.
Yeah, man. And
if I brought about a greater sense of balance to the universe, then damn it, do it.
Yeah, I'd fucking make sure, like, I'd make sure you ate up all the bad people, Rob, as I could define them. Okay.
Well, not too many. Remember, balance.
No. If we could like outnumber those bad guys like 10-1, and that's balance enough, isn't it? Doesn't one bad person doesn't it take
maybe
like 10
it is.
good
maybe
people?
It's a 10-1.
It could, balance.
That's something we should investigate.
Yeah, balance does not necessarily presuppose like a 1-to-1 ratio.
No, not at all.
In terms of like
it's
if
really
you're breaking
more
it
about
down
the
into numbers.
experience of the beholder. How is your subjective experience informing you as per the overall balance of any situation?
The experience of the beholder.
Yeah,
and
it's all very subjective.
Of course it is. We're all kind of looking through it in our own through our own lens.
Yep.
And the perspective we carry alters our direct reality. So.
And it is also, at the
day.
same time, our entire reality.
I mean,
our perspective is us. We are our perspective. We're one and the same.
So we are, at the very least, without a ton of knowledge, possibly all powerful enough to change things for ourselves.
To affect change, at least, absolutely, through your own perspective. And again, we go back to. Levels of
people fear change, though.
Oh, for sure. I'm terrified of it.
Like I know, like I just change is the worst,
isn't it? Gross.
I think sometimes the only times I've feared change is sort of like when I get caught in my own little bubbles, which I've done before. You know,
Oh, yeah.
like I've certainly been caught in my own little bubble moments. And if you're trying to bring me out of a room or a certain moment, I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen when we go there? Because right now things are fucking perfect. There's a fire right there, and demons are dancing across the fucking tent shade, and everything's looking wonderful. The fire is licking the sky as spider webs are made across the fucking galaxy. And
Sounds like a really fun bubble.
whoa. I've been caught in that bubble before,
That's a
my
fun
friend,
bubble.
and I was not ready for change. As much as change is awesome, I was
Sure,
not at that point
Not that time. No.
just ready for it to occur.
Well, things were obviously well in balance, and you were not looking to upset that balance.
No, how dare I upset that particular balance?
No.
What gives you guys balance out there? Please let us know. Hit us up on Twitter at The Good Talk 5. That's how you find us. We're also on Facebook. We are on iTunes, and I gotta tell you guys, I can't tell you enough. We really, really, really appreciate everyone who has listened, everyone who subscribes, everyone who takes the time to write a review. That's even better. Please, if you got 30 seconds, you love us, share us. If you can subscribe, do it. And that, my friend, has been a good talk, folks.
Good talk.